again, Barb, Meeple PhD. I'm an astronomer and I see the universe in everything that I do, including board games. In this series, I am taking a random walk through the board game mechanisms as listed on Board Game Geek and seeing where they remind me of the universe and the way that we study it. This time I'm looking at the mechanism of re-rolling and locking. This is a mechanism in dice games where players are able to re-roll their dice, and that there are often some kind of mechanisms in order to let you or force you to lock dice so that they cannot be re-rolled in the process. Perhaps a very famous version of this would be in Yahtzee, but there are some more modern games who use this as well. One example of a game from my game shelf is Elder Sign. This is a game where players are rolling a bunch of dice in order to complete a task on a card where their character is. So the card represents a room, maybe in a museum, and you're rolling these dice. And then if you aren't able to complete one of the tasks on there with the dice you're given, you're allowed to re-roll, but you have to discard one of the dice. However, before you do that, you can lock or focus a die on one of the characters in the room. There are also a few other mechanisms to lock dice in here, including spells, which let you lock a die until anybody can use it on their turn. Another game that uses this mechanism is Cubitos. This is a race game where players are building up a pool of dice, and each turn they get to roll a number of them. Any of them that show an active face that have something other than a blank on them are locked into their active zone. And then players have the option of re-rolling their additional dice. Now, re-rolling and locking in astronomy reminded me of the way that elements can get locked up inside of stars. So for most of a star's life, it is holding itself up against gravitational collapse by doing nuclear fusion in its core. Bear with me. It is turning lighter elements into heavier elements. And in the process, it outputs just a tiny bit of energy. And that outward energy of this nuclear fusion is enough to hold it up against the inward pressure of gravity trying to pull it together. Now, what happens though is, so right now our sun is turning hydrogen into helium at its core, but those elements are locked up inside of that star. Now, eventually our sun will also turn hydrogen into carbon. Larger stars will make even heavier elements, but all of those new elements are stuck inside of those stars until they are released somehow. Now, in the case of a star like our sun, at the end of its life, the outer layers are going to puff out into their environment, possibly making a beautiful planetary nebula. For larger stars, they can die in a supernova explosion, and their outer layers just get blown out into space, releasing all of those elements that were in those outer layers, but also creating some new ones in the process as those outer layers interact with their surroundings. So in a way, those elements get locked up inside the star until there is a chance to re-roll them and possibly form a new star somewhere, or even get locked up into a planet. So the next time you're playing a game that has the re-rolling and locking mechanism, take just a minute to think about what stars might have locked up the elements present in the dice. Thanks for joining me. If you have any questions about the science or the games that I talked about, leave them in the comments below. I'll be back again with another video soon, but in the meantime, you can like and subscribe to my channel so you know when those new videos come out. I'm also on Instagram and Blue Sky, and I have a blog at Meeple PhD, and otherwise I will see you next time.